So as we were saying, what was the main theme or message, and how did the author get it across to you? I'd have to say, in my opinion, the main theme or message was probably something along the lines of trying to open our eyes to how like little things in the economy, like little tiny interesting things, can change drastically, like how people spend their money or how people behave. Incentives and all that stuff, they can change how people react to things, how people, are motivated to do things. So it's just a whole bunch of cool things like that. So that would be the main theme or message, just to find those things. Always be curious, I guess.
I think it was to bring across the minute different things, just how cause and effect is on everything. For instance, the effect that one court decision had on the crime rate. It's amazing how it is neat to see the correlations between how something that you would think would be completely not related whatsoever could be correlated together as actual cause and effect.
Yeah, it was truly amazing. And then, how did the author get it across to you? Well, the book was actually, it was really...
examples and scenarios.
Yeah, it was a bunch of examples and scenarios. It was more like a hodgepodge. And so you'd think it would be uninteresting, like a textbook, but it was actually really interesting. It was just a whole bunch of random examples thrown together. And since it was like that, I guess, he didn't stay very long on one central character. It actually made it more interesting because you kept, like, snapping back awake when he brought in a new example. For example, toothbrushes, just throw it in there out of nowhere. Number 7. What was the climax or pivotal scene in the character's life so far? The scene where the central problem the character had was resolved and all that remained was to tie up the loose ends. So, we don't have a main character, but I guess in the book, I'll just use one example of a character whose pivotal scene or whatever. They were talking about motivations, and one of the scenes that I think would have been pivotal in a character's life was probably the thing where they were talking about motivations, and they were trying to do this project where they gave money to high school students for getting good grades. And there's this one boy who was trying to get the good grades. They had they offered the lottery and all this stuff, and he was really excited about getting money, but he had D's and F's average, and so he was trying to get the money, but at first he was excited, but still he ended up not doing it. So I guess the pivotal scene would be that he didn't ended up getting any money because he still didn't try hard enough. He wasn't studying hard and all this bull crap, so didn't get the money. That was just one example.
I don't think that that's a real good example, personally. I think a pivotal scene, a pivotal plot line where it showed an actual climax was there was one character who for graduate school was supposed to go and take surveys to the projects and he had a list of questions he was supposed to ask them and check it off, and he was sent in the worst neighborhood in the town, and it was extremely dangerous with no knowledge beforehand of how bad it was going to be. It was really underplayed on the danger level, and expected to do this research for his thesis, and he went in and he got caught in a stairway where there was drug dealers, and they literally threatened his life. But by staying calm and open and having good communication, he somehow managed to not only make it out alive, but he ended up making not just a thesis, but he ended up becoming an expert on the dynamics of drug dealers and why they also live with their moms. Because apparently they don't make no money.
Yeah, well, that's an example. So another climax there. If you could change one thing about the book, what would it be and why? Well, we both agree that it could be longer because it was actually
more examples.
Yeah, have more examples. It was very good, honestly. It was pretty engaging, and so whenever you read one more example, it was just another thing that you learned. Yeah, I guess if anything, the statistics were sometimes dry. They would just show a graph. And at first I didn't get it, so maybe they could have more explanations. But besides that, it was pretty straightforward. And, even someone like me, a high school student, actually understood it pretty well. And so I feel like I understand more about economics in general now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it opened up your eyes to just something that I'd never had any interest in before. It was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
It made the subject matter interesting by using real examples. So having more situations and examples that he could have shared would have been interesting. I would have kept reading.
Yeah, I would have kept reading too. Or like if there was a sequel, which I think there actually might be. I didn't look into it. Yeah, so that would be cool. Maybe we'll read that one. Share an example of a powerful metaphor explaining its power.